Why, hello there, fellow pirates. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to the first episode of a new series covering Corsair Cove. If you would like to skip the game's overview, please use YouTube chapters. Corsair Cove is a city builder where you build a sprawling pirate haven in the high seas of the Caribbean during the grand age of piracy. Build up your pirate cove, manage resources and production chains, raise fleets, and fight the crown to protect yourself and your fellow pirates. I'll be playing on story mode, and the priorities will be determined via polling.
The tides have changed. The age of pirates is nearing its grisly end. Crown rules supreme. Pirate hunters roam the seven seas. Hunters like Amara, that Spanish hound. Never thought I'd end up in her brig. She's a clever wench. I'll hand it to her. She made only one mistake. She threw me in with a solid crew of pirates. This might be worth a shot. Good thing I was able to hide this little beauty.
The prisoners are free! Stop them! No pirate leaves this ship alive!
Swim for your lives, you sodden wretches! Look at us. Once mighty pirates all. Lost, half drowned, and nothing but the skin on our backs. But we're still breathing. And that, my friends, is more than enough. Because all it takes is the right crew, the right place, to turn the tides of fate back in our favor.
Alright, the tutorial here is literally just how to control the camera controls, WSD, R and F to move vertically, Q and E to rotate, and num or zoom, and that is it.
It may be our home for the foreseeable future.
Let me see if I can't raise the volume a little bit.
Well then, let's start with the basics. We'll need shelter first of all. Camp and a few tents should do for now. And if there's not enough room on the ground, well, why not build on the walls as well?
Okay. You found a shipwreck full of construction resources and abandoned construction site. A fitting place to build a pirate camp. Pirate camps are the central hubs of your island and are needed to make other buildings function. Buildings start as a construction site. This icon, which is the broken path, means that the construction site doesn't have a connection to the construction resources. Connect the shipwreck to the construction site using a connector. So down here in the bar, we have connectors. And initially we just have these path connectors, but eventually we'll have more. And what we're doing here is I'm just going to mouse over the construction site, which is the pirate camp, this thing, and connect it with a dirt path or a sand path to the shipwreck that has the materials. Once your building is connected, it is under construction. You can speed up the process by changing the controls up here. So you can cycle through them by clicking or 1, 2, and 3 on your keyboard to change them. And right now we're just building a.
To be stranded here. Perhaps we'll find gold in these scattered wrecks.
I combed through them with the crew already. Anything we could find, we've gathered at our beach.
Okay, so in the shipwreck, it has some planks, and that is it. And then the Crow's Cliffs, which is the name of this initial pirate camp, is there. And then the entire island is Skull Rock, because, well, you can't tell why it's Skull Rock. You need glasses. That's epic, by the way.
Wench Amara. At least we sent her to the depths for good.
It takes more than that to kill a captain. We haven't seen the last of her. Mark my words.
Okay. Quest updated, small beginnings. Select the pirate camp. So, right now we don't have any housing because we haven't built any. And as a result, satisfaction is dropping. When satisfaction drops all the way, you have an outrage event. Think kind of like Frostpunk, where you'll have a certain amount of time to resolve it, and if you don't resolve it in time, there's consequences. And in order to solve this, we need to build housing. So right now, the pirate camp is supplying 25 houses. You know, people live in this camp. But I need to build 3 tents, so let's get to it. Construction. Your pirates need housing. Pirate camps provide only limited housing, so you'll need to build additional buildings, select your pirate camp, and then check your current housing, which is -5. You can place your tents on cliff sides or on the land with left click. All buildings must be connected to the pirate camp that they're bound to. Buildings with a icon like that are not connected to the pirate camp. So before I start placing down houses, I just want to go through a little bit of extra tips for like design ideas. So a big one is this island is completely full of natural resources. Some of them are a bit redundant, right? There's many sources of water, many sources of stone, of eggs, you know, whatever. Now, what you don't want to do is to box out those resources. Now, the game will stop you from building tents directly on those resources. So over here, see how it says there's something in the way? That indicates that there's a resource there. Now, here's the catch. There's a lot of resource chains. So, for instance, this resource is fiber. Raw plant fiber doesn't do anything on its own. It's woven into ropes, right? So, if we were to build a fiber to rope resource chain, we would probably want the rope crafter adjacent to the fiber to limit the travel time for the raw resources. So when I say you got to be careful about where you place your buildings, it's because you don't want to block access to a specific area that's going to be important later on. Additionally, fertile zones, which is like where you see the greenery, don't build there for anything that doesn't use them. Planting herbs, harvesting wood, you know, there's a bunch of things that only can go in those zones. And if you look at this island, it's very rocky and with not a lot of fertile areas. So you don't want to monopolize those areas with industries that don't require them. So let's go ahead and place some tents. And now this rock face here has like no raw resources. There's nothing for me to block. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a tent. Let's see. I'm going to put one, 2, 3. Just, I mean, they're going to get pretty wet, but they don't really care, right? Just at the bottom of this Skull Rock waterfall. And then in order to make this work, it needs to be connected to the camp. And as you can see, there's a bunch of different types of connectors, all with their own various movement speeds. So like a rope ladder is slower than sort of like a gangway, if you will. And also keep in mind that all of this stuff here, I intend to destroy later on to build more houses. I just want to connect the initial houses up. There we go. And then what will end up happening is builders, or rather drifters, and drifters are just people without jobs. Drifters are going to grab the wood from the shipwreck, because the shipwreck has some wood in it, and then bring them to the job sites to build those things. Is this a stag island? For the story mode, yes. There is an Uncharted mode, which is different, but I'll only be talking about the story mode here. So if you play the story mode, you will have exactly this island. And there we go. Each of these huts is 2 wood apiece. The wood got delivered. 1, 2, and 3. Quest completed. Mike, thank you for the resub. Cheers.
Our meager salvage won't last forever. We need to make more planks.
We have enough to build a ship. I say we leave as soon as that is done.
We'd be fools to let this chance slip us by. You'll see, Honorata. This is just the start.
Okay. The shipwreck will run out of construction resources soon. Your island offers plenty of resources. You'll need them for construction, shipbuilding, and to maintain your pirate's upkeep. You can check the overviews with this button. So, like, we have 50 coin and 29 planks, but we're not generating anything right now. Additionally, some of the resources here, and this is kind of getting ahead of myself, is raid-only resources where you can't source it on your island. So, for instance, grain is an intermediate resource that you can only get by raiding. Just worth noting. Construction resources are used for buildings and ships. So, open the construction menu and select the woodcutter. Here it is. When you have the woodcutter selected, all fertile areas on your island are highlighted, as you can see. Right? So, there are a lot of fertile areas, but I can only build within the vicinity or sphere of influence of my pirate base. So I'm actually quite limited as to the amount of fertile area available to me. With that said, wood is a very important resource used in many different production chains. So having it very central to your pirate camp is going to be useful because you're going to make it into things like planks and tools and the like. So you building like a wood cutter up here means that any wood that gets processed for industry has to travel a hell of a distance. With that said, later on, you'll get access to things like elevators and zip lines, which makes up and down much faster, much more efficient. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the woodcutter right here. Now I need to connect the woodcutter to the pirate camp. And in order to do that, I can just create some sort of, let's see, pathway. Done. And now it is connected to the camp. And the woodcutter itself does not require wood so that you can't get, like, stuck or whatever. So you can build that for free. Okay. Now that we have one, all hands on deck increases the production output of a building by 50%, but it requires double the workforce. So this is really handy when you have a bottleneck of some sort, and you can solve the bottleneck by doing all hands on deck. In this case, I don't really feel the need to. Hardwood must be processed into planks before it can be used as a construction resource. Build a sawmill and connect it to the woodcutter. So, if I delete the paths I just made to build that thing, and then go and put a sawmill, apparently I can't put a sawmill on that rock, but let's see. Let's put a sawmill. Right here. Then the resources can go from the woodcutter to the sawmill, and then the sawmill to wherever they need to be eventually. And that way I haven't filled up any of the fertile tile zone. And this is on the cliff, and it's out of the way of everything else. Your pirate production buildings need 2 types of pirates. So fetchers fetch items from one spot, and then hands do the actual production. So I'll show you this in a second. Our woodcutters have 2 green hands. And the green hands have an upkeep of food. We'll get into that in a minute. And then once the sawmill is built, the sawmill has a fetcher, and this fetcher, what it's doing is it's grabbing wood from the woodcutter for the sawmill process. So this green line here is the fetcher's path. And if I wanted to remove it, I can right-click on it, and now the sawmill is not supplied. And if I want to supply it, I can click on the hardwood, select the hardwood that's coming off of the woodcutter, and as you can see, it re-employed the fetcher. So fetchers are haulers, essentially, and your green hands are your workforce. Alright, stockpiling resources will help you optimize production change. Build a warehouse and connect it to the pirate camp. So, here is a big tip. The things that are going to require the most maintenance, and this is a wee bit of a spoiler, but not a big one. The things that are going to require the most maintenance are your ships. When your ships get in a fight or go on a mission, they're going to take damage, and you might also lose crew. And with that said, this is a pier slot where you build a ship here, and it is definitely in your best interest to have a warehouse next to your pier stocked with all of the things needing to repair your ship. So if the ship costs only wood planks to build, it will only cost wood planks to repair. Later on, when you get higher level ships, your ships might require wood planks and sails and rope. And if you have to source the sails, rope, and wood planks from a bunch of different warehouses really far away, your ship is going to be dry docked for a long time. And essentially idle, not doing anything, while you pay the crew, which is kind of expensive. So, the first warehouse you build doesn't necessarily have to be the warehouse that services the pier, but you should definitely consider having a warehouse with all of the necessary things stocked in it next to the pier slot. So putting like a warehouse here. Now, with that said, it doesn't really matter how far this warehouse is from the sawmill, because you're going to have a fetcher stockpiling it the whole time, and you only need wood to repair your ships periodically. On the other hand, I could just put a warehouse right here, and then have like a quick line over to the pier over there. Just because something isn't adjacent to one another doesn't necessarily mean it's not close, right? If I put a warehouse right... Come on, where was that sweet spot? Right there is now connected to both the woodcutter and the sawmill at a very short distance, and it won't take very long to move goods from this side to the pier. So I'm satisfied with that spot. Looks a little weird, but you know, why not? To stockpile a resource in a warehouse, click the plus button, and it will employ a fetcher. And then once that's done, what we're going to do is we're going to have a fetcher fetch all of the planks that are on the shipwreck on the beach below and put them into the warehouse. So this path here is to facilitate that more quickly. Okay, so we'll select the warehouse, click a connection, and then say, hey, go get the planks from the shipwreck. And as you can see, the path I just made is being used.
Empty our shipwreck and demolish it for more space.
So the goal right now is to demolish the shipwreck to free up the area. And as you can see, this fetcher is now fetching the planks and putting it in the warehouse, and this warehouse will go up to 19. Because that's what was left. Now we have a little icon here indicating that the source is done. It has no more planks. So I'm going to right-click on that, firing that fetcher, and then click on that again, and start stockpiling planks from the sawmill. You can stockpile whatever resources you want. Not all resources, however, I would say are worth stockpiling. And there we go. Quest complete. The shipwreck is gone. The other thing I want to do here is to change the pathing type for... There we go. Because I like these... I like these types of gangways.
Something requires our attention.
Well, that's a problem. I really don't want that tooltip there forever. I've had this bug before. Sometimes saving alone doesn't resolve it. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to quickly restart and blow through everything I've done so far. Technically, this game is pre-release, and those are some of the issues that I really hope are resolved
Feast your eyes on this blighted rock.
quickly.
Mateys. It may be our home for the foreseeable future. Well then,
And really, it's only in this first
let's start with the
part of the
basics.
game where there's like
We'll need
tutorial
shelter,
aspects
first of all.
that it will happen.
Camp and a few tents should do for now. And if there's not enough,
Shut up, Rambulian. Alright, connect. Done. Go.
It appears we're not the...
Aye.
It takes more.
Alright, 3 tents. We'll do it exactly how I did it last time. Oh, this time I have a cliff path. We'll use the cliff path. I don't know why I have a cliff path this time and not last, but it looks nicer, so I'll go with it. Build the 3 tents. Quest is complete. Woodcutter. We already know what we're doing there.
our meager salvage won't last forever. We need to make more planks.
We have enough.
We'd be...
Okay, sawmill. Maybe I'll have it... No, I'll put it here. Even higher than I had last time. Yeah. Good enough. Cheers, by the way. And I'll endeavor to avoid having those, like, impossible to clear tooltips. I had that happen to me once in playtesting, and they never went away. Rebooting the game, didn't matter. I looked through the options to see if I could hide them, and I couldn't figure that one out. Alright, warehouse. Alright, now that the warehouse is nearly done, we'll have the fetcher.
Good. Now, let's empty our shipwreck and demolish it for more space.
Go grab all the resources from the shipwreck. Because it's just a one-off, I'm not going to create a more efficient path. I'm kind of worried that creating the more efficient path was the culprit. And we're good.
Crew's uneasy. Something requires our attention.
Okay, the crew's uneasy. Something requires our attention. So we click on this. We discover 2 of Amara's soldiers hiding amongst our crew. They claim that they were stranded here like us. We are about to slice their bellies open when they loudly renounce the crown and ask us to accept them as pirates. What should we do? Option number 1, we let them live. Option number 2, we spill their guts. And I'll explain the consequences. So, cohesion. Cohesion shows how well your pirate community sticks together. Higher values afford more leeway when pushing through setbacks, If cohesion drops to 0, your group dissolves and the game is lost. I do not find that cohesion is much of an issue in this game. It's really easy to keep ridiculously high levels of cohesion. But cohesion is basically a way for you to avoid consequences you don't like. The other one is Spill Their Guts, where we lose 2 pirates and cohesion drops 20 rather than 30. Wow. Merciful pirates. I didn't expect to see that. Okay. Let them live. We take the hapless fools at their word and welcome them to the crew. Many grumble and protest. They only see traitors in the making.
Tough times call for hard choices. A good crew sticks together through thick and thin. Lose that cohesion, and everything will fall apart.
Well, I, for one, am starving. Is there nothing to eat on this uncivilized rock?
Where's that bloody pig? I'm in the mood for stew.
Okay, in the mood for stew. So build a campfire. So in order to feed your crew, and all of your green hands and fetchers, they have an upkeep, right? If you mouse over, upkeep of stew, upkeep of, well, green hands have upkeep of stew. What we're going to need to do is to feed them. So what I'm going to do is over here, put a kitchen on this rock here, a campfire, and connect to it like so. And this thing requires planks, so we deliver planks from the warehouse and get it built. This is not the cohesion meter. What this is satisfaction. We'll get there. Just wait. New building, galley. So, you don't actually eat at a campfire. The campfire is where you produce food. And yes, in this case, you produce food out of nothing. You, like, scrounge for it, if you will. The galley is where you eat. And the galley is a building that can serve up more than just campfire meals. Your galley is a building that can serve up just about a whole bunch of different meals that would be expected from your crew. Well, that's a bit messy, but it works. Curious what the pathing will look like. Actually, it didn't work. Let me redo that. That's much smoother. And just the way I set up the woodcutter to the sawmill, you don't want a long, unnecessary supply path between your campfire and your galley. And if any time you want to speed things up, there is the all hands on deck, which builders are doubled and prioritize this construction site. So that's really helpful if they're, the construction site requires a lot of material. Pirates can take a lot, but the lack of food or proper shelter will push the toughest sailors on the brink of outrage. How do we address their anger? Tend to this at once. So, this is the outrage. Your first outrage event is kind of scripted, and in order to assuage it, it's just make sure that satisfaction is rising in all pirate camps for 120 seconds. And right now, their outrage is completely based upon the fact that stew was not available. But now that we have stew available, it should resolve on its own. And the supply chain is already set up for the galley to supply stew. And as soon as there's stew in the galley, the outrage will subside. Alternatively, we can, because we have extra drifters, double the hands on deck. Another thing to note is in the top right, you can see all hands on deck for 2 buildings. It will show you what buildings are like doubled. And now, here, you can see that satisfaction is rising as a result of having food available. On top of that, up here, you can see that the upkeep resource for stew is going up. It's trending upwards. We produce 24, we use 8. So easily we're providing more than is requested. And even if I don't double, it's still more, right? It's plus 10. Now keep in mind, if I double the people working in the campfire, I'm also adding more green hands, which means I'm also feeding more people. So it's not like a perfect 50% bonus efficiency because you're adding more mouths to feed. Because essentially the drifters that are not working just fend for themselves. You know, they're fishing or scavenging the beaches or eating coconuts. I don't know what they're doing, but you're not feeding them. Is there a downside of all hands on deck repeatedly? It's not particularly efficient. 2 campfires is going to provide more food than a boosted campfire for the same amount of workers. Our swift action satisfies everyone. Well done. Let's grab ourselves a few drinks. Unlocked the Moonshine Still.
But for a pirate nest, we're still missing a vital establishment, don't you think?
Ah, yes. A treasury. Or perhaps a high-class brothel.
She means a tavern, you posh idiot.
So, much like there's a galley, there's also a tavern. Let's have a cliffside tavern. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to delete the pathing here so that I can build in this spot, pausing the game in the process. And we're going to put a still right there. And then a path from here to there. So it's not cut off and separated. Okay, tavern. And something's in the way here. So mayhaps I pick a different spot for a tavern. Alternatively, I could put the tavern up here. A tavern up here. So one of the things is a tavern here, if you're wondering, is strategically not a bad idea. And the reason is initially your moonshine, like anyone can drink and it's really easy to source. But eventually, that won't remain the case. You will need to make different types of alcohols that require, usually like sugarcane or, you know, things of that nature, which requires fertile land. So having a tavern here close to the fertile soil isn't a bad idea. Plus, the Moonshine Still is very close to the tavern, even then, right? That supply distance is very short. So putting it here with the concept of if I ever need to grow anything for the tavern, placing it up on the fertile soil above works pretty well. All right, assign a fetcher at the tavern to grab the booze. So, grab booze. Done. Quest completed.
Finally, a place to wet me gills. Things are coming together. All that's left is a pier, so we can build a ship.
Rambulian, we need a tavern keep in here.
Coming.
And I'm going to periodically save to make sure I don't get, like, tooltips of doom. So, now, shallow pier. Now, the shallow piers can only be built in specific areas. Each pier services a ship. So, this island that we're on can have a finite number of ships as fleet. I don't think it's particularly necessary, in my opinion, to have 6 ships. It's way overkill and also super expensive, at least initially. But obviously, the pier slot we have available to us is this one here. And I'd like to connect it... Oh, too long. Shucks, because this is the warehouse that I have stockpiling the wood. So maybe I'll rework that at some point. So what I'll do is I'll create a path from here over to the pier. And later on, we'll have the ability to span gaps like this more easily. So I'm not worried about that either. So here comes the shallow pier. Now at the moment, nobody is using booze, right? I don't have an upkeep of booze for anyone. Booze is typically used for swabbies, for sailors. So the alcohol you're producing isn't for the green hands or the fetchers, they're for swabbies, which will be hired on as boat hands when you have your first ship.
I must admit, this is starting to look like a little haven.
Did you miss me, pirate scum?
Amara! How the hell did she make it here?
Her ship is barely holding together.
But she still has her cannons.
If we don't have a gun tower or better ship ready in time, well, we better duck for cover.
Here she comes!
Our haven is taking fire. Everyone, to the tavern!
You think you can build your nest on this rock? Think again.
That blasted wench. Kill her, now!
We have him! Back to the ship!
The attacking ship has bombarded your island. We lost many pirates and buildings. So 2 pirates died, and cohesion dropped another 10. Repair 3 damaged buildings. Have rising satisfaction in all pirate camps for 60 seconds. So if you click on the pirate camp, or click on really any of the damage, you can just hit repair all buildings, and it will just queue it all up. So you don't have to go finding them. And then this tooltip is just indicating that the campfire is broken and not providing input. So obviously the campfire got destroyed in that bombardment. So yes, I know. Okay. Satisfaction should be rising, and it is now.
That rotten wench took our tavern keep! After her!
How? We still don't have a ship.
Then let's build one. It's about bloody time.
New ship, landlubber. So click on your pier, start building a ship, and you can see there's like unlocked ships that we will unlock later on. And landlubber sucks. It has horrible stats, it has terrible crew, and it doesn't really have any actions, special actions, that, and we'll get into that. But, you know, this is the only one available, so we'll go ahead and build it, and it costs 15 wood. So as you can see, wood is being dispatched. This builder is carrying all 15 of it required, and they were dispatched from the warehouse over here. I don't really, at the moment, I don't feel the need to try to speed up the distance between warehouse and shipyard. If it becomes an issue, I'll address it. It is not an issue yet. And there we go. We have produced the landlubber.
Isn't she a beauty?
Nope.
Beauty. It's a floating turd.
And who shall be the proud captain of this turd?
One of us has to, I'm afraid.
Thank you for tuning in to Corsair Cove, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you would like to catch a live stream of mine, Rhadamant.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Corsairs.